Hi, my name is Khanna, and I help property investors become property developers even if they've got no prior experience. And today, I'm going to show you how I did it deal by deal with numbers using my 6 pillars of property investment. And the only reason I succeeded was because I did things differently. This is a bit of a long video, so if you want to come back to this video, all you have to do is go to learnpds.com. That's learnpds.com. There's nothing to sign up there. I won't even ask you for your email address unless you would like me to help you fast track your property portfolio. And in that case, you can schedule a call with me. Here's why I did things differently, and it's important that you do too. Most buy and hold property investment strategies that you've learned no longer work. All you need to know is that one strategy in the post-GFC world. I think all of you would agree that gone are the days when you could pile on debt and still keep going. You need to understand how to get the best return on your money in any market condition. So instead of using organic growth to fuel your next investment property and piling on debt, you first grow your equity by getting the highest possible return on your money. So when you settle on the property, you've got more equity than debt. This is the only sustainable way to generate cash consistently and maintain your serviceability. Now I know how you feel. It's hard, it's overwhelming. When we start out, there's always issues with lack of money or the lack of right knowledge or the complete knowledge. There are serviceability issues and the market isn't optimum right now either. When I started just after GFC, I faced the exact same issues. Nobody would lend money to me and I didn't have the right knowledge or the complete knowledge, so to speak. I remember going to a meeting to see a town planner and I didn't even know who a town planner was or what did they do. So I know how you feel. But here's why I succeeded. Even though I was starting off with a very small amount of equity and very limited knowledge, or actually zero knowledge, what set me apart was that I had resolved to become an astute property investor. Before I forget, make sure you go back to learnpds.com to watch the complete video in case you are short on time right now. So here's why I am where I am. Every decision I made it based on my 6 pillars of property investment. Just so you know, it's not a get-rich-quick scheme. There are no magic formulas and no guide to riches in the galaxy. I sell hard work done smartly because I know that this is the most lucrative and the most rewarding property investment strategy under the sun. If you want to really make this work, you will have to do the work. And if you stick with me, I'll show you exactly how I use property development to create equity-rich investment properties for myself that enabled me to create a snowball effect, which in turn helps you acquire even more investment properties by leveraging the income and the equity in the property that you've already acquired. You ready? Here are my 6 pillars of property investment. Pillar 1. Never risk all your money in one project. Very simple, but often overlooked. Even if you have the ability to be able to do a project on your own, especially when starting out, you will be better off by partnering with somebody else or with one of my students. There's nothing wrong with doing it on your own, but not before you've gathered some experience. All you're essentially doing is mitigating your overall risk and creating a cushion for yourself. Pillar 2, you must identify, mitigate, contain, or transfer every possible risk before you get into the project. Pillar 3, you gotta be able to continue doing projects irrespective of where the market is at. You don't have one strategy. There are different strategies for every kind of market possible. Pillar 4, generate enough equity from projects so you can acquire an unencumbered property every 2 to 3 years. Pillar 5, you only borrow money if it makes you money. No fancy cars, no fancy expenses, no expensive holidays, nothing. One credit card, and that's what you stick to. Pillar 6, we get the banks to love us. We create a borrowing capacity irrespective of the market, irrespective of the interest rate hikes and different lending conditions and so on. I'm about to get into all the nitty-gritties of all the deals that I've done and the numbers behind them. But before we do that, make sure that if you want to come back to this video, you go to learnpds.com. That's learnpds.com. All right, let's make it real. This is a project, this is one of my first projects. It started off as a first project, but by the time it finished, I'd actually completed 3 other projects along the same time because this was a big kahuna. It was like people start with a duplex. I started with a 9 apartment building. So there's no such thing as I can't do this because I haven't done that. No, I didn't do that. I went straight for the big project and didn't worry about developing a duplex. But that's just me because I have developed all the systems and everything's in the background as well. So what does it look like? 9 apartments in Brisbane, project duration almost 3 years. My profit share in the project was about 284K. The total project profit was 569. I owned 50% of the project. Development margin was about 15.55%. We started off our feasibility started off somewhere around 19. But we hit a snag. There were some issues with the stormwater when hooking up with the legal point of discharge. So we lost a bit of money there. because they were unforeseen latent expenses that no matter what we did, we couldn't do it. There was something that we had not known before. So as I said, it doesn't mean that it was a bad project. Even if I had known that this was going to happen, I would have still done the project, because if you look at the profit that came from the project was fantastic, good enough for me. Project GRV was about 4.23 million, and I actually held one of the units there. The market value of the unit was maybe about 70 grand, and the cost of the developer was about 4 or 6 or something, about $80,000 profit per unit in that project. So what I'm trying to show you is that how each project flows into another project and how the equity works. So let's go down. This is a no money down project for me. This is 16 apartments in Fitzroy in Victoria. We didn't end up developing the project. Why? Because the project gave us 1.3 million even just by getting a permit. So you got to have different strategies. You got to know that if you get a good profit up front, you sell it off and you move on. It's because this is not your first and your last project that you're ever going to do. So it is all about turning over and keep churning out projects. So 16 apartments took about 2 years. My profit share was about 273. This is my no money down deal. I didn't put any money in this project. So the total project profit was about 1.3 mil. 79 Wantirna Rd Ringwood. This wasn't I didn't have any money in the project. I only got like a project management fee, and this was a project that me and my builder and my other project manager, we got together and to get it off the ground, to get the construction company going. So the construction, we wouldn't get insurance, we wouldn't get enough insurance to be able to do the project. So we had to do a small 2-unit development and build it ourselves to get the construction company going. So I only made maybe 20,000 in the 4-month period then when we were actually building the project. So yeah, that was one of it. This is a 3-bedroom, 3 townhouse development, 3 4-bedders in Chelsea. And it was a 12-month project straight from signing the project and to actually building and handing it over. It was 12 months straight. I got the project with plans and permits, but the profit share was about 83,000 in the project. 70 Newington Pde Chelsea with 4 luxury townhouses again right next to the beach, and project duration was about 12 months again. This was supposed to be a JV with the landowner, but it didn't work out. The landowner decided to get the land value and move on. So yeah, the development margin was 11.75. Why? Because my interest costs were too much in this, because at the time I didn't quite have that kind of serviceability to show. So we had to go to a third-tier lender, and you got to learn how to swim with the sharks and not get eaten by them. So we did a project with them, and that's why, because the interest costs were too high, the development margin fell down a bit. So this is 230 Station Street. This is 12 townhouses, and from 4 I jumped straight to a 12 townhouse project. And this project, I'm keeping one unit. Again, my profit share in that is about 230. It's the cost of property to me, it's about 584. Profit per unit is about 115. My share from the rest of the development is about 115 as well. And the market value is about 700, even at 70% LVR. I only need a deposit of 210, which is less than my basically it's less than my money that I've got. So I have about 20,000 surplus left. So if I go this way, this is what I can do. But what I plan on doing is actually option 2 and combine this with one of my units in Brisbane and access more equity, which is about 819, that I can continue doing it. Again, going back to the pillars, that you got to make sure that you can keep doing more projects as you go along. So development margin on this project is about 19.7. The entire project is done, dusted, sold. So yeah, 4 into 3 bedroom townhouses. This is already in the pipeline, and the profit share, my profit share in the project is about 72. Development margin is about 16.41. This is an 8 apartment project, which we basically get a development management fee. This project is for an investor and another big mob that we are now doing projects with. So this is 8 apartments in Mordialloc. This is about to start construction in the next couple of months, and the development margin there is about 17.76%. Now, if you look at the entire APAM and see how it churned out projects, I turned over 40 million. This includes the 2 projects that are in the pipeline that are not completed as yet, and the total duration is 2013 to 2017.
and that's almost 5 years. So because by the end of 2013 we would have almost built both of them as well. So total project profit is about 5.25. Total profit share in project 1 to 6 is about $1,031,000, and the total profit in the pipeline projects is about another 204K. So this is all set for the next year. I've acquired 2 properties in that, property 1, and these are the market values of it, so totals that. So if I wanted to go, and because of stringent lending conditions, I only got an LVR of 70%. I can still access 615,000 and put it towards my next project. The way it worked for me, and it'll be different for you because your numbers would be different, your projects would be different, but in a nutshell, the underlying principle is that you start generating enough cash and equity in your projects so that your properties are not heavily in debt, basically. So you don't have a lot of debt on your properties, and you drive each project from one to another and one to another, and you keep going to be able to create all of that. So that's basically 890,000 in equity plus 212 in cash. That gives me almost $1 million. This is across 6 projects, including project 7 and project 8 between 2013 and 2017. Plus I'm on track to execute project 7 and 8, and I have just signed 3 contracts with longer settlement to fill my pipeline for next year. My APAM, underpinned by my property development system, allowed me to make money as a property developer. And yes, this was all done post GFC.
So before I leave, it's learnpds.com, and if you've liked what you've seen here today, can you please hit the like button or share it with your friends or anybody who you think might benefit from this. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time.